Okay, here's our second class workshop on Sketchbook Express. And we're going to continue to use layers today. And today what we're going to do is we're going to create a Georgia Okeeffe style flower drawing using Sketchbook Express. So first things my students need to do actually is go into Google and just go to Google Images and look up a flower. We just want one single flower, so in the search I put pink flower because I wanted to look for pink this time, but you could just put flower and see what flower comes up. We want a flower that's facing forward and that we can see lots and lots of petals that we want. So I liked one that was down here. I like this one. I like how the perspective is a little bit off the page, so I like this one. So what I did was I took a screenshot of that and I edited the screenshot, and now I'm going to go back to Sketchbook Express and I'm going to start a new one. So I want to start, and we're going to start a new one. There's my clean page. So we're working with layers today, so we're going to go up here and we're going to hit on this, and we're going to add layers, and I want as many layers as I can, and I know I can get up to 3 layers. That's all it'll let me do. So I'm working on one, and I want to add the flower that I just got, and I'm going to load Photo Library, and I'm going to go to my camera roll, and then there's the photo that I've edited so that I have it there. Now I want to transform that, so I'm going to hit transform. It's not fitting and I want it to turn this way, and I'm going to make sure it's fitting the edges where I want it to fit. When I'm happy with that, I say done. Now I'm going to work with my layers. Now I want to show you something. When we go into layers, I now want to do my tracing on another layer, but I've got my photo on the top layer, and I actually don't want it on the top. I want my photo on the bottom. So I just go here and I hold my stylus on there, and I can drag that to the bottom layer. So now I'm going to work on my next layer. So on my first layer, I'm going to make sure I'm using pencil, and I want to go pencil, and I want to use it black. So I'm going to play around and make sure I get my pencil black. I like my pencil line to be about 8 when I'm using my homemade stylus. So I'm happy with that. I've got my pencil. I'm going to go in here. Now my students should know that when you're doing this, because we're going to use the fill function, I want to make sure that I close off all edges and lines. I'm going to just start by tracing this inner part. And I'm not tracing it too carefully. I'm just kind of creating the shape and pattern. Now I want to make sure I close off my petals, so as I'm doing it, I close off the edges, and I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to start adding my petals, and I'm drawing in my petals. Good. Making sure that I close off the line so that I can use my fill function. My students are going to go a little bit more carefully than I am. I just don't want you to sitting here all day watching me. I want you to get to the artwork yourself. So I close off my edges, and I'm going to keep going around. So my first layer that I'm going to do is going to be my draw layer and my first layer of color. Alright. Okay, and I double check. I can go back and double check. I can turn that off, and I can look at that to make sure everything is closed off. If I see an opening somewhere, I can go and I can check it. Make sure everything is closed off. I see there's openings there and openings there. So that's a good way of checking, is going and turning off your photo, because I want to use my fill. I'm going to make sure I'm going to go in and close those edges off there. Make sure I've got a line there, so that's closed off. Okay, so once I'm happy with that, I'm going to go back and I'm going to put this layer on. And for my first color, I want to show my students a neat little trick using color. I am going to leave my photo on, and I'm going to go in here and I want to do fill. So I'm putting on my fill, and instead of having to play around with this color wheel here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here and I'm going to touch this circle. And it's going to give me little options. When I touch that, it gives me over here the eyedropper. The eyedropper lets me match the color exactly to the flower color that I want. So I'm going to drag this circle And there's the pink I want to start with, and you can see it up here, it changes that to that pink. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to make sure I'm still on that layer. I'm on my fill now. So now I'm going to touch those flowers and I'm going to go into those petals, and it's matching the color that I used with the eyedropper. So I'm touching, I'm filling in all of those spaces with that eyedropper. Good. There we go. Oops, I'm going to go back on that one. I must have not have closed that off. I can touch that up later. So now I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to my eyedropper again. And I'm going to match just one color in the middle here. Eyedropper. Drag that to that blue color in the middle. I like that. Good. I've got it. So now I'm going to make sure when I touch that, it's going to fill that area in that blue. So now I've got some of the basic colors that I like on there. I'm going to do something else now. I don't want the flower layer on there anymore. So I want that to be my base layer. So I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to add a layer. Look, it's a blank layer now. And I'm going to move that blank layer to the bottom, and I'm going to make it, I could make it a blue background or I could make it a black background. I'm going to go with black. So I'm going to go on that layer, make sure it's blue. I'm going to go to my fill. I'm going to get it black. And I'm on that layer, and now my background is all black. But I'm not done yet. I know there was different colors. When we do the Georgia Okeeffe, when we used our paintings, we knew that we had different shades in here, and we saw that on the original picture, all those different shades. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to change to my paintbrush. And I want to have another shade of pink. Not the same. I'd like it a little bit lighter. Oh, that's good. That's a little bit lighter. And I've got my paintbrush. And I'm going to go in and just add some lighter colors in here. There we go. So now I'm doing a different layer. I'm doing a layer on top. And I'm adding a little bit of other color in on top. I also noticed when I remember the original picture, there was kind of yellow dots in there. So let's go and see if we can add some yellow dots. Get some brighter yellow. I like that. And I'm just going to use my paintbrush and I'm going to put some dots in here. And I'm going to play around with my layers. Maybe I'll get a different color dot in there too. So now when I look at my layers, I'm working on that layer. If I turn that layer off, those lines disappear. I've got all three layers on, so I see all parts of the flower. If I'm happy with my flower when I'm finished, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to hit save. And it says save. And there's my flower saved to here. If I show you a couple of others that have been saved that are in my photo library, there's one that was done. And you see the layers, and there's another one that was done. All right, so you're using layers. You should use up to 3 layers today, students. And I want you to think about Georgia Okeeffe. I want you to think about different tints of the color that you're working on. Make sure you fill in and close off the gaps so that you can use the fill function. And have fun with your Sketchbook Express today. Okay, good luck.